Hello and welcome. In this video I will try to briefly introduce you to Python. No, not the snake Python, but the programming language Python. If you're a beginner with no programming experience, then Python is definitely one of the best choices to start with. It is quite an easy to learn language as its syntax is not that difficult to understand. And it can be used for a lot of things. It can be used for data science, it can be used for web development, game development. You can create algorithms to trade stocks, you can control your email with it, you can use it for developing applications, and as you might know, most of the tech companies today use Python, including Netflix, Spotify, Google, Instagram, Amazon, Facebook, and many more. So today we will start with the basics on how to install and set up Python, and this is the first video of the Python for Beginners series in which I will try to help you learn the basics so you can make use of this amazing programming language. I'm not sure how many tutorials there will be yet, probably around 10. But let's begin. The first step is to go to python.org, and as you can see on the top there is a downloads tab. Now since I use Windows, then Python website automatically suggests that I download the latest version of Python for Windows. If you have another operating system, of course this would differ. By clicking on the button you would get the installation package. And since I already have installed Python, I will not go through the very same steps. But if you don't have Python installed, please pause the video and run through the steps. If you've decided to create a desktop icon, then on your desktop you will have the, it's called IDLE. So otherwise you can go to the start and search for IDLE Python. IDLE stands for Integrated Development and Learning Environment. So this is basically the console which runs the code. So for example, if you open it and if you do any mathematical calculation like 2 plus 2, you would get the output instantly. So this is the console that runs the Python code. Of course, we will not use this to actually write the code. For that purpose, we're going to create a new file. And as you can see, they look similar maybe, but they're actually quite different. Because the one on the left side, the Python file, is basically one that we are going to use to write lines of code, and then after that when we run the code, then the console will open, will activate, and will actually run all the lines of code. So let's do that as an example. But there's one more thing that you should know, and that is in order for a Python file to be run, it has to be saved. So we can't run a file if it's not saved, because basically Python goes to that directory, searches for that file, and then gets the code there and runs it. But right now, if we don't have the file saved, then it doesn't really exist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print hello world, which is the first thing you print when you learn a Python, any programming language. And of course, if I try to run it, which I can do either by clicking run module or just F5, which is a very handy shortcut, it will ask me to save the file. And of course, it has to be saved in order to exist in a way. So I'm going to save it on my desktop, and I'm going to save it as just as a test, and the type of file, it would be a Python file. Now what this means is that the extension of the file would be .py. So if you have a Microsoft Word file, it would be test.docx. If you have an Excel file, it would be XLS most likely. And for Python, it's .py. Now, of course, since I already have the correct extension, I will just save it as text. And now it would run. And as you can see, in the Python console, I get the output of the code that I have in my Python file. I'm not going to go into detail yet for the types of variables and the types of data types. We will do that in the following tutorials. But for now, what you need to know is that these three arrows signalize that all of the code that we had in the file has run correctly, and it doesn't mean that it has run correctly, but that Python has finished running that file. So for example, if I have I'll just make an error on purpose. I'll just put here plus hello. Again, it has to be saved. It will show me something else. So first part is, well, I have finished everything that you've asked me to do. That's it. There's nothing else that I'm doing at the moment. I've finished running your script. But also, the file that you have, which is named test.py, On the line 1, on the first line, there's an error. Well, this is what you tried to do, and this is the name of the error, so hello is not defined. Now what this means, of course, we'll cover in the following videos, but what you should know is the console will show if you have an error, which means that the script has probably stopped, and that's why it's finished, but it doesn't mean that it has run correctly, or it could be that if you don't get any error, that it has finished running and it has correctly run. But also if you run a script and you don't see the 3 arrows yet, it means that the script is still running. It could be that you have a script that takes a lot of time to run. Maybe you're sending, I don't know, hundreds of emails, or which would not take that much time with Python, but maybe if you're requesting access to your email, every time you send an email, or there's something else that makes the script run longer. In that case, you might wait some time until you see these 3 arrows, so that signals that Python is still running the script. Now the last thing in this short video I would like to cover is if you want to change the way that this looks, you can do it by configuring the IDLE by clicking in the options. And what you can do here is you can change the font, you can change the size of the font, but also if you go to the highlights tab, you can use a dark mode, you can use a custom one. I really like the one that the classic one, so I'm not going to make any changes, but if you want to change anything, this is how you can do it. Now that you have all this settled, we can move to the next video and learn about the basic data types and variables. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below, and please subscribe to the channel so you get the latest Python related videos. Thank you and see you in the next video.